Hello, fellow YouTubers, fellow resellers. Happy Sunday. I hope everything is going well with you. Today we're going to talk sales. We're going to talk eBay. We're going to talk a reaction to a couple videos that I watched, one yesterday and one today. All positive, all good stuff. And I'm kind of picking up where I left off yesterday because I kind of abruptly ended my video because my wife came home or came down the stairs, and I don't know, I feel self-conscious when other people are in the room and I'm talking. I'm an introvert myself. And my name is Jeff, by the way. I'm a full-time reseller, and yeah, I mean, this is what I do. And I, like you guys, are experiencing some lean times, and that's okay. That does happen. I think that, though, for the most part, we're all a little questioning whether it has to be this lean or not with all the stuff that's going on with eBay. But that is not what this video is about. This video is to show you some of the things that I sell. And I actually think I'm going to start the video talking about a video that I just watched by Josh Gate, and his YouTube is The Josh Gate, and I'll link it below. And he did a video yesterday that is so spot on, and it is something that I have been thinking about myself. And I'm actually really glad that he did the video, because in it, so the video is called eBay Sellers Also to Blame for Slow Sales. Now, I thought he was going to go into a completely different direction when I started watching this video. And keep in mind, I had never seen a video from him before. He was recommended to me recently by somebody who left a comment on one of my videos. So he was in my queue to watch something from him, and this was the first video, and I'm just like, man, this guy, he's speaking my language. But also, I thought he was going to say that the sellers are to blame for maybe having like undesirable items in their stores. Like maybe, I thought it was going to be more on those lines. So when he flipped it, I mean, and he didn't flip it, but he flipped it on me because I had an expectation of what he was going to say. He was talking about how, and anybody who's watching this video right now has seen a video like this, where somebody talks about buying something for something price and then selling it for, 100 times more. And about how it's a bad look for resellers. And I have thought this for the longest time. Now, he was very political in the way he phrased it, because he was saying that, the majority of resellers, they have good intentions of, sharing this information with people. I don't look through such rose-colored glasses. I mean, I think it's also kind of braggy on many levels. Look at me, I did this, I did that. I don't agree with it either. I don't agree. I mean, I agree with everything he says, and I agree that we as resellers, we did this to ourselves on some level in terms of putting the content out there and bragging about it. Now, it's okay to make 100 times profit on an item. I do it. I've done it. But the issues that I have with it, on top of how it's a bad look for resellers, how our competition is seeing these things and they're pricing the items up, which is what he says. I totally agree. And we really can't complain about that when we go to the Goodwill or we go to Savers or wherever we're going. Now, my problem with the pricing on some of those things is when they're pricing their stuff at eBay costs and it's junk. It's like broken or in bad condition. I mean, that's a totally separate issue as well. And, you know, our customers are seeing these things and they're like, you know, well, I could have bought that. I mean, yeah, and right on, the customer could go out and buy it, but they do need to go out there and source all the time. Like a lot of times we as resellers, we're just in the right place at the right time because we're going all the time. That's why you have to go all the time, because you just never know. Sometimes you have to go twice a day. I mean, if I'm in the area and I'm going somewhere, I'll hit up a thrift store first, and if I'm out for a couple hours, maybe I'll hit it on the way back. And I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I know somebody who works for I knew somebody who worked for a very popular clothing line. I'm not going to talk about which clothing line. I'll give you a hint. Oftentimes their tags are in really obscure places on their clothing. And if you knew how much their items cost and what they sold them for, you probably wouldn't buy from them either. But they're not advertising it. They're not advertising how cheap it is to produce their inventory. And I think Josh is so spot on that we as resellers really need to start rebranding ourselves. And I think based on this, like oftentimes I will say what I buy things for, but I think I'm actually going to stop in terms, now every once in a while there's going to be like a story behind it. But I think he's right. I think, you know, if you see, okay, here is something that sold. I'm gonna finish I'm gonna show you some of the things that sold over the last 36 hours. Like these two Guinness shot glasses. I talked about them yesterday. They're really little. They're really adorable. They sold for $15. They probably should have sold for a little bit more. I made money on them. And I don't need to say I bought them for this and I sold them for this. Like if you see these and you're out and you see them for $1 and you remember seeing them on my video that they sold for 15, and as I said, they should have sold for more, but I was not in a good space in terms of, you know, sales not coming in, fearful that another offer was going to come in, fearful that I was going to offend Cassini, and that's the eBay algorithm. I'm actually going to start, I don't hear that word enough in videos, but I think I'm going to start referencing Cassini a lot more. For fear that I'm going to offend Cassini because I countered an offer and then they declined, and then Cassini's going to think, oh, this seller, he's bad for countering. We're going to push him down in the search ranking. So anyhow, but if you're out and you see those and you remembered, so this part of what I want to do in my YouTube videos is to show you things that sold so you can create a database of things for yourself. And it's not just, you know, Guinness shot glasses that will sell. It will be, well, here, look at this. These sold yesterday for a really good premium, actually, for $36. These two, you can't really see them. I don't know, Appleton Estate Jamaican rum frosted. They've got these like palm trees on them. They're super cool. They're super nice. They're really, really nice. And that was why I bought them, because I'd never seen them before. And I thought, these are really, someone's gonna want these. You know, I got a good deal on them. Let's just start saying that. You know, if you're out and you see those, buy them if they're cheap. And the thing about barware is the more that you can find, the more of a premium you're going to get. So if there were 4 of them, you're going to get a better deal. You're going to be able to sell them at a premium. Now, shipping them is a pain in the butt. Finding high quality ones of those can be challenging. So you got to factor all of that in. A local sale that's coming today. This is the only local sale that I've had today, or that I have lined up, and it's really not that. It's only $15 for these 2 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm able to pull these off of eBay. I actually have 2 sets of these, so I'm just gonna adjust the quantity. But I'm very happy. Like these, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you think, oh, anything Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a big seller because they have a huge collector fan base. Those ones aren't that good. They're Playmates. I bought them, I think, in a lot, and I'm so happy to get rid of them because that's actually the kind of merchandise, in my opinion, that because they're not worth that much, to sell them online, it's kind of not. That's actually why I listed them locally, is because for someone to pay the low price, $10 to $15 plus the shipping, it almost doubles it. Not quite, but anyhow. So I think I showed these Star Blazers, these cool science fiction magazines that sold. They sold for like $22 or something like I think it was 22, and I bought a lot of these, and like I said, I listed them instead of selling them as a lot. I listed them individually with the issue numbers, so other collectors could fill in their runs, and I felt like I could get more value that way, right? So the individual, and you can do this with, and this is part of like thinking differently. Right? Thinking like your strategy for reselling has to be different. It has to be unique. And look at this. This is such a great segue into something that James was saying the other day in My Boring Reseller Life about how volume has really saved him. And I'll link his store below as well, because not his store. I'll link his channel as well, because I watch him a lot. I'm definitely going to be watching more of Josh's videos. I'm pretty sure I touched upon everything that I wanted to talk about. Like, and just go watch the video. It's short. It's only 9 minutes long. And he definitely, we think along the same lines. So yeah. But James, he was talking about how volume is really helping, is really saving him. And so he has 50,000 items, and a lot of it is just common everyday stuff. A lot of people will criticize his store. They'll say that, a lot of it is just lower dollar stuff, but it's saving him right now. And I can relate, because a lot of what I sell, like there's some crossover between the items that I sell and the items that he sells. But I respect James a lot because he's very knowledgeable, he's very transparent, and he has an incredible work ethic. I don't know anybody that works as hard as him. But it got me thinking about my style, and kind of like what, in some way, my style of sourcing and how I've created my store, it has saved me as well. I see value in things that a lot of people don't, and I've gotten some criticism since I've gotten some attention on my channel. People will look at my stores and they'll say, well, stop complaining about low sales, and they'll be like, oh, you've got like junk in your store or this and that. Nobody wants comics, nobody wants media, nobody wants, whatever, like collectibles. I disagree. And I run my business. I am not out there sourcing, looking for whatever hot flavor of a month is out there, whatever clothing brand is supposedly a bolo. That's just not me. Like, I don't enjoy that hustle. I don't enjoy that competition. A lot of my stuff is unique items, and I think that's saving me to some degree. And now I've also started sourcing for local items to sell as well, because that's part of my branching off of eBay strategy. And I started doing that 4 to 6 months ago. And had I not done that, it would have been really, really tough right now. Like, had I not already had, you know, I've got 550, I mean, maybe 750, maybe 1,000 items listed locally across a number of different platforms. You know, I've got a couple marketplace. I recommend not just building one marketplace, but building 2 marketplaces, because they're bots. They flag things so often, and you know, like my one account, I'm at risk of losing my marketplace status, which is complete BS. You know, I'm selling a pet Christmas ornament, and they think I'm selling a dog. Unique items like this. So, like I've read some of these comments, and they just kind of wash off me, but they still kind of are like, well, am I selling, you know, junk, I guess you could say, but I'm not. And this is like the universe basically affirming my my inventory. So this right here. So yesterday I listed this little button, Kiss FM 92.9 FM. I didn't know it. I mean, I knew it was a radio station. It's a radio station in Bellingham. And I was like, this was part of like a large button lot that I purchased a couple months ago, and I have sold so many buttons out of there, like at like way more higher prices than you would think. As I was listing this, I was thinking to myself, is anybody gonna buy this? Like, really, is anybody gonna buy this? But I listed it. It's in really great shape. Here's the back of it. It's in really great shape, and I do know that the buttons that extend past do indicate a certain age. And I listed this yesterday, and today I got an offer for $16. I listed it for $20. You probably would have thought I was nuts for listing it for $20 for a button. And so essentially this sold for $20 shipped. And I messaged them, and I said, if you want to add anything else, any other buttons, any patches, any pins, anything small, it's free shipping on that. But $20 shipped for this button. That is awesome. Like, I find so much joy. So somebody really wanted this button, and I was happy to provide it. Now, not every button I bought out of that lot is good. In fact, it was like I literally threw away 40% of the buttons that were in there because they were either junk or their backs were missing, or I didn't, or I actually did make a lot of some things, and I sold them as a lot, but I would say 40% of the buttons that I bought, I tossed. I was just like, but there were some really good ones in there. Like I sold these 2 buttons a week or 2 ago. They were basically referencing like Tolkien, and they were from the 60s, and I listed 2 in one lot, and they sold for $60. It had to do with the hippie movement or something. And I think that's also part of what I do, and part of why I love what I do is, as we're listing things and we're doing research on them, we're actually learning things as well. And I find that extremely interesting. And another thing that I wanted to jump back to what Josh was saying in his video about our customers seeing what we're buying something for and what we're selling something for. That does not tell the whole story either, because every trip to the thrift store, the Goodwill, it does not yield these holy grails that so many resellers focus their what's that thing called, I'm having a blank, the thing that you see when you click on a video, and that's what's, is so important. The thumbnail, I think it's the thumbnail. That's the focus of the thumbnail, is this amazing sale. But that only represents like 20 seconds of the actual content of the video. So, but the other thing is like how many times do you buy stuff and it just sits in your basement or sits in your storage locker? It doesn't sell. So not everything that we buy sells either. So it's like, for all those holy grail amazing purchases that we have, how many duds do we have that we have to maybe either redonate or, you know, lower the price, and it just sits in our inventory and takes up space, and we're paying storage fees on it. So, but you can't really explain that to the customer, because all they're seeing are these big headlines about how us as resellers are making so much money. And actually, I still honestly think that, like, I could totally see eBay watching these videos and being like, wow, these resellers, they have so much profit margins. Let's get them to pay for advertising. Will and Grace. Bought this. I don't remember if I bought this in a lot. I might have paid $1 for this at a Goodwill. Sold it for $9. You know, I'm okay saying I paid $1 for this, because my thinking is that I can't remember if I comped it and there were some sales. And, you know, sometimes when you're out, it's like you want to buy something, you know, and it's not that I bought that because I honestly can't remember where I bought that. Ink and Wheels. This is it's either a comic or an art book. This is going to Mexico. I have no idea when or where I bought this. I'm sure I bought it cheap, you know, because I take a lot of chances on comics, because, you know, at comic shows, they have a lot of, you know, well, they used to have a lot of cheap comics, but I also buy it off of Craigslist. I probably got this in a lot. This sold for $19 plus, so the guy paid $33 to get this shipped to him in Mexico. And I made a little bit of money on the shipping. So is this worth $19 or is it worth $33? And there's only 1,000 of these made. Drawings by Paul Trevino. So Ink and Wheels. Here's my thought process. I didn't know at that time it was only had 1,000 issues. I just thought it looked cool, right? And I don't want to take it out because black covers really pick up fingerprints. So I know things in the tattoo genre are popular. Motorcycles are popular. Girls in skimpy outfits is popular. I mean, she's sucking on a ice cream cone. Like, so, you know, you've got sex, sexual innuendos, motorcycles, a cute cat who's also licking his paw. So there's probably some humor here. And it looked obscure. So this is worth somewhere between $19 and $33 because that's what somebody's willing to pay for it to get it. That's my thought process. Now, Anne Rice, Servant of the Bones, 6-issue series. This sold for $24. Bought this in a lot. Anne Rice, awesome author. One of the first big books I read when I was younger was The Witching Hour. Phenomenal book. Phenomenal series. Shitty adaptation on AMC, I will say that. 2 Spawn books. These sold for what did these sell for? $33. And I talked about those yesterday. But that's to the people who say that comics don't sell. Comics do sell. But I will say this. The comic market is severely depressed. So, going back to James. Things that I think have saved me is my volume. I've got 8,500 items between 2 eBay stores, and then I also sell locally. So, and selling locally, I think, has saved me. Having unique items, I think, has saved me. I went back and I looked, and I think I'm going to try to share this information when I do what sold videos. Is out of the last 22 items that I've sold, only 8 of them have been promoted listings. That is awesome. it's so significant now, especially if, you know, in the future we're essentially forced. I mean, I already feel like we're being forced to use promoted listings, but if things don't change, then this statistic is going to be even more significant going forward. 8 out of 22. So that means 16 items were 14 items. People were literally searching for what I had. I didn't have to promote those items. And because I generally am not in competitive, I don't have like, you know, my items are pretty unique. It almost doesn't even make sense for me to use promoted listings a lot of the times. But I also feel like I still feel like I have to a little bit. I think I showed you guys this yesterday, Mars Mystery. This sold for like $9. This was part of a massive esoteric book lot that I purchased. It was so much fun. I was one of the first ones there. I got a ton of stuff, and I ended up going back a week later, and I took it all. Like literally, they gave me what was left because they just wanted me to take it. So I was doing them a favor. And then it turned out there was some really good stuff in there as well. But it was work. Like I worked, it was hot as hell that day. I was filling up my car, it was dirty, it was dusty. So the fact that it was free is great, but I still had to move it. I had to load it, unload it. I did a video on it. I have to research it, I have to list it, I have to store it, and I have to pack it. So we should make good money doing what we do because it's not easy. And these videos that these YouTubers make, they glorify it too much, in my opinion. I just think people need to be more real. Like, don't set the expectation that reselling is this glamorous lifestyle where everything you make, you buy low and you sell it at ridiculously high prices. Okay, almost done. I think I just got one more, and I think I showed this to you yesterday. Charleston, South Carolina patch sold for $9, $10. Bought this in a patch lot. Say that 10 times fast. Off of Craigslist or Marketplace. I just love having inventory like this. It's easy to list. It's easy to store. I've got these things. This is my SKU. So as I'm listing them, I just put them in here. And then I've got a bigger one for like so those were for small patches, and then I've got like a tray like this that I'm listing, and I put smalls in here. So that is a great way. Like this is probably, I don't know, 100 items. Way easier to store, way easier to ship. Put the patch in here and you're done. Like, I love it. I love it. There was one other thing I wanted to say and I lost it. But check out Josh's channel. I'm going to link it below. Oh, yes, I remembered. Sorry, guys. I'm a full-time reseller. I don't have a lot of time to like make these videos pretty and nice and edit them. I mean, I don't even know how to edit them. You know, I try to take some notes of things I want to talk about. I always forget things, but when I'm done with this video, I got to get listing. I got to meet the guys coming to my place to pick up those turtles things. I got to list and do work. So I just don't have time. Like, I was thinking to myself, if you ever see my videos and they're like super nice editing, that means I'm making enough money on YouTube to pay somebody to edit them. until that time, this is what you're going to get. But you're going to get good information. You're going to get really solid information. You're going to get honesty. You're going to get honesty. You're going to get real talk. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know why people wouldn't tune into that. So like, this is not for entertainment this is not for entertainment purposes. This is for knowledgeable purposes. So the last thing I wanted to talk about, Friday and Saturday seemed pretty normal, especially with it being the summer, like sales wise. It felt normal in traffic, like the impressions seemed to bounce back a bit. They seemed to bounce back higher than the last 6 days, but they definitely weren't higher than before the 17th. But my traffic also, like there's a traffic button if you go to performance traffic. The traffic seemed to be fairly normal as well. It seemed normal in the amount of offers that I could send. So it seemed like people were actually seeing my items, and I was able to send items. And at 3 o'clock, so from basically Friday morning when I woke up until yesterday around 3, sales were pretty good, all things considered. The shit show of the eBay website, the summer, we're in the summer slowdown. My sales are pretty good. And then I left, went to my daughter's, we went to fireworks, and I was expecting sales to come in through the evening. I didn't sell anything for like 12 or 14 hours. No, nothing. So I'm just like, okay, are we back to this now? So I don't know what to expect. And I think this is part of the annoyance of eBay, I think, that we have, is that it doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel natural. And I think that's the issues that we have, is like, and that's what causes us to speculate. I don't like to speculate, but in the absence of, in the absence of a normal feeling business environment, conspiracy theories, speculation is going to run rampant, because that's all we can do. We're not being given any answers. We're just being gaslit by eBay and acting like everything is normal, everything is fine, it's you, it's not us. We're a multi-billion company. We have our shit together. No, you don't. No, you don't, on so many levels, and you treat us so poorly. You treat us like we're like the redheaded stepchild. Sorry if you have red hair. Kind of a bad reference, but it's... So, I don't know. I don't know what to think in terms of like why... Well, I did have I had the one pin sale this morning. But it's like you get like 14, 15 sales in 24, 26 hours, and then you get one sale. It's weird. I don't know. But it does happen. So I'm not saying anything. I'm telling you what I'm experiencing to see if you are experiencing the same thing. Because the only way that we're going to be able to know anything is if we can collectively see some real patterns. So that's all I got for you guys today. Have a great Sunday. I hope that you're having great sales. I hope you're not having the drought that I did. I hope you're finding this information useful. If you are, please feed the YouTube algorithm. You know what to do. Take care.